This debate today, it's about who gets to be an American. What opinions do we have to be counted as Americans? This is what this debate is about, Madam Speaker. There is this idea that you are a suspect if you are an immigrant, or if you are from certain parts of the world, or a certain skin tone, or a Muslim. It is no accident that members of the Republican Party accused the first Black president, Barack Obama, of being a secret Muslim.
This debate wasn't about party lines or political games. It was about something deeper, about who gets to be called an American, and what voices are allowed in that conversation. Ilhan Omar opened with a fiery defense, saying this debate was about immigrants, Muslims, and people of color being treated like suspects in their own country. She painted it as a question of identity, who belongs and who doesn't. But what came next from the Republican side completely flipped the room. Lisa McClain from Michigan stood up, and within seconds the tone changed. While others talked in circles, McClain came armed with one thing: the Constitution. She didn't shout, she didn't spin, she just spoke with conviction. If you break the law, she said, there are consequences. Even if you say sorry. The chamber went silent. Because for once, someone wasn't trying to protect a party. She was protecting a principle. McClain reminded everyone that apologies don't erase accountability, and the Constitution doesn't bend for convenience.
Gentleman reserves. Gentlelady from Michigan is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And to use that logic, well, then all those people should have just said sorry and we'd move on, right? But no, we don't do that. And let me tell you, I take a little bit of offense to what the hell is wrong with me. I'll tell you, there's nothing wrong with me. I took an oath to defend the Constitution, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Again, I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm going to hold the Constitution, and it's very simple. We really shouldn't even have this debate. If you break the law and you follow due process, there are consequences to your actions, even if you say sorry. So we can try all of the diversion tactics that we would like. It doesn't change the fact that someone broke the law and that someone should be held accountable. It is disappointing, Mr. Speaker, that their own party can't hold them accountable, that they have such hypocrisy. So with that, I yield 2 minutes to my friend from New York, Nicole Malliotakis.
Gentlelady is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Talk about what Representative Omar has said, talking about that, because I think it's important to put this in context. In February of 2019, Representative Omar tweeted, and I quote, "It's all about the Benjamins, baby," in reference to American support for Israel. She said that AIPAC was buying U.S. representatives. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and the entire Democratic leadership actually condemned Representative Omar for these anti-Semitic comments. Then, again, just to show this is a pattern, this isn't some one-off incident, February 27, 2019, she doubled down on her stance at a forum in Washington, D.C. when she said, and I quote, "I want to talk about the political influence in this country that says it's okay for people to push for allegiance to a foreign country," end quote. Clearly, she's going back to the trope that Jewish Americans have a dual loyalty between the United States and Israel. That offended Chairman Eliot Engel, who at the time was the Democratic chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee. And he said, and I quote, "It's unacceptable and deeply offensive to call into question the loyalty of fellow American citizens because of their political views, including support for the U.S.-Israeli relationship. We all take the same oath. Worse, Representative Omar's comments leveled that charge by invoking a vile anti-Semitic slur," end quote. Again, that's not me saying that. That's a former Democratic chair of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Further, in March 2019, Representative Omar trivialized the terrorist attacks of September 11th that killed just about 3,000 U.S. citizens by describing it as, and I quote, "some people did something." Her words. In 2021, a few months before the death of 13 service members during the botched withdrawal from Afghanistan, Representative Omar compared service members of the United States and the Israeli Defense Forces to terrorist groups like Hamas and the Taliban. She tweeted, and I quote, "We have seen unthinkable atrocities committed by the U.S., Hamas, Israel, Afghanistan, and the Taliban," end quote. To think that a representative here in this body would equate the Israeli Defense Force and the American service members to Hamas and the Taliban speaks volumes. It's unacceptable. That person should not be on the Foreign Affairs Committee. Representative Omar's Democratic colleagues sent a statement asking her to clarify those remarks because it was offensive and misguided. Again, the words of my colleagues across the aisle about Representative Ilhan Omar's words, and she refused to apologize. In May of 2021, Representative Omar accused Israel of committing war crimes following days of conflict between Israel and Hamas, where Hamas was launching rockets into Israel that saw thousands of missiles fired indiscriminately at Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, killing civilians. And she described Israel's defensive posture as war crimes, saying nothing about the terrorist attacks of Hamas. So spare me the false outrage over her comments. She has proven time and time again that she should not be on the Foreign Affairs Committee. But I'd like to yield 5 minutes to my good friend from the state of Florida, Representative Maria Salazar.
And then Nicole Malliotakis stepped in, calm, precise, and ready with receipts. She laid out a timeline of Ilhan Omar's controversial statements. The "It's all about the Benjamins" tweet, the "Some people did something" remark about 9/11, and her comparisons between U.S. soldiers and terrorist groups. These weren't political opinions. They were patterns of judgment that even Democrats had once condemned. Malliotakis read their own words back to them, calling Omar's rhetoric unacceptable and deeply offensive. You could feel the weight of that moment. Because this wasn't about attacking a person, it was about defending the integrity of the institution itself. Lisa McClain and Nicole Malliotakis made something crystal clear that day. The Constitution isn't a prop, it's the playbook. You don't rewrite it when it's inconvenient, you stand by it, even when it's uncomfortable. Their message cut through the noise. Accountability isn't partisan, it's American. And that's a truth Washington can't keep ignoring.